The Colorado Supreme Court on Tuesday declared Donald Trump ineligible to hold office again under the U.S. Constitution's insurrection clause. In a historic decision, the justices ordered that he be removed from the state's presidential primary ballot after determining that he engaged in insurrection on 6 January 2021. The ruling sets up a likely showdown in the nation's highest court to settle whether the January 6 attack on the Capitol amounted to an insurrection, and whether Trump's involvement disqualifies him from running for office. The 4-3 decision by the Colorado Supreme Court marks the first time a presidential candidate has been deemed unqualified for office under a rarely used provision that bars insurrectionists from holding office. A majority of the court holds that Trump is disqualified from holding the office of president under Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. The court, whose justices were all appointed by Democratic governors, wrote in its ruling, "Trump has vowed to appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court," his campaign said. "We have full confidence that the U.S. Supreme Court will quickly rule in our favor and finally put an end to these un-American lawsuits," said Stephen Chum, a Trump campaign spokesperson. The ruling applies only to the state's 5 March Republican primary, but its conclusion would likely also affect Trump's status for the 5 November general election. Nonpartisan U.S. election forecasters view Colorado as safely Democratic, meaning that Joe Biden will likely carry the state regardless of Trump's fate. The decision is a victory for advocacy groups and anti-Trump voters who have mounted several similar legal challenges to the former president's candidacy under Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, which was enacted after the American Civil War to keep former Confederates from returning to power. Richard Friedman, a University of Michigan law professor, said the decision should not be surprising. He took an oath to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. And then he did what he could to subvert the lawful processes for electing our president, Friedman said. The nation must accept the decision and move on. If the U.S. Supreme Court upholds the Colorado decision, Friedman said, there will be further questions, since this is new territory for a presidential candidate. Does the court make a nationwide determination that Trump is ineligible? Or does it merely say that a decision like Colorado's is justifiable, and leave it to the processes of each state? He said. Colorado's highest court overturned a ruling from a district court judge who found that the Trump incited an insurrection for his role in the January 6 attack on the Capitol, but said he could not be barred from the ballot because it was unclear that the provision was intended to cover the presidency. The court has paused its ruling from taking effect until 4 January to allow for appeals. If the case is taken to the U.S. Supreme Court, the pause will remain in effect until that case is resolved.